Welcome to the latest Weekend Warrior show. This time I'm doing a review of Damien McCarthy's Hokum. I think that's how you pronounce it because there's a big space between Mc and Carthy. If you know the name Damien McCarthy, you probably saw his earlier movie Oddity, which came out in 2024, or his earlier movie Caveat, which I never saw. That came out in 2020, so obviously during the pandemic, so maybe it got missed or got put on streaming. His latest movie is called Hokum, and it stars Adam Scott. He's the actor who most people will know. Although there's also David Wilmot, who I know quite well. I've seen him in a lot of movies and a few others. It's mainly Irish cast. Ian McCarthy is Irish. His last movie, Oddity, was set in Ireland. I'm not sure about his previous movie before that, but this is very much an Irish set movie, although Adam Scott plays an American and he kind of represents the viewer. I'm not going to say too much about it. And to be honest, I'm kind of like, I'm afraid to even put trailer in front of this because I feel like you should see it without seeing the trailer. I actually did get to see it without seeing a single trailer, so I knew nothing about it except for this Damien McCarthy's movie and his star Adam Scott, and I recommend that. So I'm gonna put this as an intro, and then I'm gonna put the trailer, and you can skip it if you want. I think you should skip it personally, but and then I'll talk about the movie a little bit. And this is gonna be a spoiler-free review. I'm gonna go as hard as possible to avoid spoilers. I will spoil the fact that I did like this movie a lot, and I think I'll talk a little bit more about it why. But anyway, here's some trailer. You can just fast forward past it if you don't want to watch it. It's about a minute or so. And then at the very end, I'll put the rest of the trailer. And I think I'll put an earlier trailer. So I'm not really sure. I haven't seen the trailer when I'm recording this. So I have no idea if either trailer spoils stuff. But I'm not going to spoil stuff. So I don't want you to watch the trailer and spoil stuff for you. Anyway, here's the trailer. You skip it or watch it. Either way.
First time in Ireland.
My folks came here for their honeymoon. Always wanted to come back.
Why didn't they?
I don't know if you've noticed, but there are some oddballs walking around this place.
There are worse things than strangers out there, Yank.
One of the members of staff is missing.
What about the honeymoon suite?
It's always locked.
I'm getting a weird feeling. Something feels off.
So anyway, Hokum stars Adam Scott. He plays a writer named Ohm Bauman. And his first name is spelled O-H-M, Ohm, like the resistance of electricity. I'm not really sure who would name their son Ohm. Maybe it's an Irish thing. I don't know. But I think either his parents are Irish or were Irish. They're both dead when we meet him. We know that because we see their ashes. And we also see him kind of like busy writing the end of his trilogy called the Conquistador Saga, which is a very strange idea for a book, I'd have to say, or let alone a trilogy of books. And we see him kind of struggling with it. And we see some of the book being brought to life. But that's not anything to do with the movie at all. That's just kind of his occupation. I mean, it's kind of a framing device, I guess. But the thing is, Owen Barman, he's at home, he's writing, he's already getting spooked out by some stuff. But then the whole thing moves to Ireland, the Irish countryside, where he's staying at a kind of remote inn that I will say that it is haunted. It does involve some supernatural stuff. I'm not going to say too much about it. I mean, there could be a witch. I don't know. Yeah, he comes to this inn, and he's kind of a bit of a jerk. I mean, he's kind of like he shows up there with a big attitude. I mean, basically goes to the inn because he wants to bury his parents' ashes at this old redwood where he knows they met and they honeymooned at the inn. So he decides to pour the ashes there. So that's why he's there. I assume he's going to do some writing. He doesn't do any writing because he's basically caught up in this whole thing at this inn because basically he starts learning stories about the inn being haunted by a witch. There's a specific room. There's the honeymoon suite where his parents stayed many, many years ago. That is the crux of where the hotel's haunted. And it's been locked up. It has a heavy gate. No one's allowed to go in. It's, people talk about it. He meets a bartender named Fiona, played by Florence Ordish, who tells him a lot about the honeymoon suite and how she wants to get into it to see what's in there. Obviously, no one else wants anyone to go in there. A few things happen. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but a lot of things happen in this movie, mostly around Adam Scott, and there's a lot of interesting characters around him too. The guy named Jerry, played by David Wilmot, who is kind of like a homeless guy who lives in the woods. He's kind of a character. This Fiona, who has a pretty small role, and there's also a bellboy named Albie, played by Will O'Connell, has a kind of really funny, strange scene. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but basically, a lot of the movie is Adam Scott's character interacting with all these different odd characters in the hotel. That only goes maybe for the first half hour or so or less as a setup. And then, well, he ends up in the honeymoon suite. I'm not going to say how he got there. I'm not going to say what led up to it, but he ends up in the honeymoon suite. He ends up locked in there, and lots of horror stuff happens, and lots of scary stuff happens, lots of supernatural stuff. As you can see from the picture behind me, there's a dumbwaiter that goes down to the basement. Pretty scary. This movie has a lot of, I mean, first of all, one thing I like about this movie, I have to say right off the bat, is it's very original. It's very unique. It has elements that you've seen in other horror movies, but they're introduced in such an interesting way. Even if you think about a haunted hotel, that's been done before. It's The Shining, blah, blah, blah. But the way that Damien McCarthy does it, well, first of all, the fact that he has Adam Scott at all. I mean, that casting Adam Scott ends up being, I mean, it makes this movie like 20 times better than it might have been otherwise. So that's just that for the first of all. So, but then you put the setting, which is this haunted hotel. And I will say that I always like to shine a spotlight on the below the line people on these movies like this because they're so pivotal. In this case, production designer Till Furlich and his set decorator Kiara McKenna, what they do in creating this hotel, creating this honeymoon suite, which we spend so much time in, and all those like set decoration and all the, I mean, even the lighting, the cinematographer Colm Hogan. I mean, this stuff brings a lot to the setting. And that setting, I mean, even though you've seen stuff like this before, it's what they do with the setting and what they put Adam Scott through in this setting is just so pivotal. It's why Hokum is so good. And it's interesting. I've been thinking about horror recently and thinking about like what the different types of horror are. Not now by that I don't mean like ghosts and vampires, blah blah. I mean there is original horror, like really, really original horror, like this, like Hereditary, like Midsummer, like movies that are just so original, so outside the norm. There's like derivative horror. And derivative horror, I mean, you can say that Lee Conan's The Mummy, which came out recently, I just reviewed and saw last week, is pretty derivative. I mean, it is. It's a mummy movie. It has elements of other movies. So there's a derivative horror, there's original horror, and then there's high concept horror. And last week I also saw Obsession, which is very much high concept horror. It has a very, very simple premise you can explain very easily. In some ways, you could say The Mummy is high concept horror. There's other ones. I mean, even like Undertone, which I liked more than a lot of other people. It is kind of high concept, but it's also original. It's not as derivative, but I mean, it's those three elements, those three descriptors for horror: original, derivative, high concept. Those three things are what kind of makes it easier to sell a horror movie. And the thing about Hokum is it's not high concept. It is not. You could say that the concept is like, oh yeah, Adam Scott in a haunted hotel. Okay, that's high concept. But it's really how it's done by Damien McCarthy that makes it very much original. And that's like, in my book, that's really good for horror. If you can watch a horror movie and not know what to expect and not know what's to come. And again, a lot of that, again, is like what I said before, not to watch the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I have no idea what it spoils, but this is a lot more than just like the usual like jump scares. I mean, there are definitely some of them in there. There's definitely some spooky things going on that show up and scare Adam Scott's character, scares the viewer. I mean, Adam Scott is especially kind of cool because if you're an American watching this movie, you're not Irish. He basically represents the viewer, so that works really well also. But it's also just how it's done. I think Damien McCarthy is a really, really more than a competent filmmaker. He's a really good filmmaker. I mean, Oddity, I had some issues with it, I think, but I definitely liked it. I think I definitely thought it was also original. And I also will say this is produced by Roy Lee, and Roy Lee is, I mean, he's produced some amazing horror now, including the It movies. He produced Barbarian. And this also kind of reminds me a little bit of Barbarian because it does have that similar, one person in a place exploring, usually by like lantern. But it's a combination of like Adam Scott and all these other actors. So when he interacts with those other actors, they're just great scenes. I love David Wilmot's Jerry. He's a really interesting character. Fiona is great too. I wish there was more of her. I can't say more about that. But I mean, in general, Damien McCarthy has made a really, really good horror movie. I think this is going to be one of the best horror movies of the year, personally. I mean, I also liked Undertone, also produced by Roy Lee. oddly. I think this will work better with other audiences. I feel like a lot of people said Undertone was boring. I disagree completely. Didn't think it was boring at all. This movie just has like a lot of interesting things happening. I cannot wait to see it again. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, I think that's pretty fair. It's up there with Undertone, as I said before. And I think people will like it, especially because Adam Scott is just so great in this role. And the whole way that things build up. I mean, I will say it is a bit of a slow build. You got to give it be patient. And I know a lot of horror fans are not patient, including some of my friends. Like my friend John of the Cantaloupe Cats. He doesn't have the patience. Also, my friend Brett of the New Flesh, not very patient. They get bored easily, I guess. I don't get bored as easily in these movies. And this movie is a slow burn, just like Obsession, which I'm going to be reviewing soon. But it is worth seeing. I know it's going to be in the Monday Mystery Movie. It's a lot of people will be seeing it already. Hopefully that'll build word of mouth. Yeah, Hokum, definitely worth seeing. Being released by Neon on May 1st, I believe. And I'd say that's probably going to be a better choice than The Devil Wears Prada too. But I haven't seen that yet. So anyway, that's it. Hokum, great movie, 8.5 out of 10. I recommend it highly. And now I'm going to show you the rest of the trailer. So again, don't watch it if you haven't seen the movie yet.
I can't find a way out. I keep hearing something. I think there's someone down here.
Can you hear me? Get me out of here, man!